Hello. This is the #1 grinder. Welcome to my channel, the Underrated Darkness. One of the best kept secrets on YouTube, the best of the business. My work speaks for itself. I brought back the underrated music talk. I know I haven't done it for a minute, but I'm bringing it back. And we gonna talk about the late great George Duke. We're gonna read about him. I don't know that I'm gonna do a panel discussion. It really depends how I feel. But yeah, we're gonna read about George. Bruce Goes. What's good? He said I'm a big fan of George Duke. Oh yeah, George Duke. He's a great. Nobody don't talk about him. You know, he got people that he just do jazz. No, he do R&B. He do blues and stuff. He arranged one of the best keyboardists and one of the piano player, one of the best composers in modern. And a lot of people said he did music back in like in the 80s, but he made his mark back in the 70s too. We're gonna touch more about that. So, we're gonna wait for some people to come through and that like that. But this is I brought it back, y'all. To have people talk. I told you I'll bring it back. The underrated music talk. So this is not the first one. I got a lot more. I got much more deep in my channel. So, but I promise people I'm gonna do some more and like that. So let me read this. Come enjoy real conversation with the #1 grinder. Us as the righteous one individually, let's make a change within ourselves and genuinely being there for each other. We all we got. Just remember, we all we got. We're going to give about another 2 minutes. And shout out to you, Bruce Goes. Thank you so much. And let me take this off. All right. And we gonna get to like 2 more minutes. Then we gonna read about the late great George Duke. All right, so he was born in January 12th, 1946. He passed away August 5th, 2013. He was born. No, I'm not gonna give you. I read about that in a few. I read about that for you. I'm just giving y'all that to the what you beat a little bit. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna get like this for a minute. But Bruce, if you still here, press 1, please. If you still here, press 1. Read about. Okay, good. Well, just want to let you know you're here. Good. Thanks for being here. We gonna give at least about 1 more minute and a half. I squeeze out extra minute, and nobody come. They just have to catch it on the rewind. And never know. I don't know. I might open it up. I don't know. It really depends how I feel, because I do have to get up in the morning. Take care of some things. So and I don't want to be all night and everything. But um. So let's see. Get what we gonna give it to like we gonna get it to eight. When it hit 8 minutes, then we gonna get it going. Okay, because it can't wait. We want to get this thing going. All right, there it is. Let me reintroduce myself again. I'm the underrated. I'm sorry. I'm #1 grinder. My channel is the Underrated Darkness. One of the best kept secrets on YouTube. The best of the business. Going down like that, my record speaks for itself. This is the underrated music. This is the underrated music talk. Long Waking, like I said before, I did others in the past, and we're gonna talk about George Duke. We're gonna read about George Duke. So here it is. Thank y'all so much. George Duke was an American keyboardist, composer, singer, songwriter, and record producer. He worked with numerous artists as a arranger, music director, writer, co-writer, record producer, and as a professor of music. He was born January 12th, 1946 in San Rafael, California. Passed away, unfortunately, August 5th, 2013 in Los Angeles, California. His spouse was Connie Duke. Yes, she's still living in his music group. What he back in the days was of Intervision. All right. Now I don't know, Bruce. I don't know Bruce yet. I don't know. So I'm not gonna promise you because this really supposed to be a self-lie. So after I finish, if I feel like shoot you a link, I shoot you a link. So I don't know yet. I can't do it yet. Big Duke. Good. Thank you so much. All right. Again. He worked with numerous artists, arranger, music director, writer, co-worker, producer, professor of music. Okay. He first made a name for himself with the album Gene called Poetry Experience with the George Duke Trio. He was known primarily for third eye solo albums, of which a Brazilian love affair from 1979 was his most popular, as well as for his collaboration with other musicians, particularly Frank Zappa. And also, let me put this out. Throughout the 70s, he did have solo albums, and then little by little, it had done well commercially. I need to put that in because I know they was going to put that in, so I just want to put that in. Okay. Genre: jazz fusion, R&B, funk, progressive rock, rock and roll, jazz rock, post disco, smooth jazz. Occupation: that's that. Musician, composer, director, producer, educator. Instruments: I want you to hear this because you're not going to hear it. Yes, exactly, Bruce. Instruments: vocal, piano, synthesizer, saxophone, guitar, flute, bass guitar, trombone. At that time, when we talk about the bass guitar, a lot of people said back in the days he was one of the influential of bass player, one to play the bass guitar and trombone. That throughout his arrangements, that's why his sounds is so different. That he know how to play different instruments. That's why it's very important that I always say this: gotta learn how to master certain instruments so your range and conductor could be brought out of music. So I just want to throw that in. Okay. Years active: 1966 to his death. Labels: this is label Pacific Jazz, IBS recorded, Pickwick, NPS, Saba, Atlantic, Epic, Elektra, Warner Brothers, Bizarre World, Taglog, Jazz, Heads Up. And Association acts as Peter Academy, that's music, that's Africa. John Hurt, Frank Zappa, Cannonball Ali, that's a jazz great, Nate Otterly, also jazz great, Stanley Carr, jazz great, Steve Vai, jazz great, Gerald Wesley, Leon Andrew Chancellor, Lynn Davis, Napoleon Murphy Brock, Sheila Escovade, Flora Al Jarreau, great. Bill Conn, jazz great. Earth, Wind, and Fire, great. Jeffrey Osborne, great. Diane Reed, are very underrated. Kurt Williams, very underrated. Marcus Miller, great. And this is what he been working with, y'all. Now let's go. Like I said, he was born on January 12th, 1946. Dad Duke and Beatrice Burrell, and raised in Martin City. Now they say, what's Martin City? Sound like that's the same city that Tupac Shakur was living in the early 90s, Martin City, California. So yes, right. And so his mother took him to see Duke Ellington in concert and told him about this experience. I don't remember too well, but my mother told me I went crazy and ran around saying, get me a piano. Get me a piano. He began his piano studies at the age of 7 at a local Baptist church. He attended Tablopus high school in Mill Valley before earning a bachelor's degree in trombone composition with a minor in compas from the San Francisco Conservation of Music in 1967. That's just that, and then throughout the years when he's got get famous, that's what he gave his money to after school. You need to put that in. He earned a master's degree in composition in San Francisco State University in 1975. That's when he was recording. Very impressive, right? Yes. Although Duke started playing classical music, he credited his cousin Charles Burrell for convincing him to switch to jazz. He explained that he wanted to be free, and Burrell more or less made the decision for me by convincing him to improvise, and do what you want to do. He taught a course on jazz and American culture at Merritt College in Oakland. Duke recorded his first album in 1966. His second was with French violinist Jean-Claude Paty that I read about for, with whom he performed in San Francisco after Frank Zappa. That is a rock great, and Cannibal Adderley, like I say, for a jazz great, heard him playing. They invited him to join their bands. He spent 2 years with Zappa as a member of the Mother of Intervention. 2 years after Ali returned to Zappa, Zappa played guitar solos on his album Field 1974. In 1975, he recorded with Pete Magazine, his original drummer, the album Follow on his recordings. He recorded I Love the Blues. She Heard Me Cry with Zappa bandmates Ruth Underwood, Tom Fowler, and Bruce Fowler, and jazz guitarist Lee Whitnall. Now, people said, who was Lee Whitnall? He also played with the late great Barry White and others. Duke occasionally recorded under the name Davel Garda, possible for contractual reasons when a pair of other artists' albums. In 1975, Duke fused jazz, pop, rock, and soul music on his album For Me to You. 3 years later, his album reached it into pop charts, and his audience increased. During the 1980s, his career moved to a second phase as he spent much of his time as a record producer. He produced pop and R&B hits for A Taste of Honey, Jeffrey Osborne, and Denise Williams. His clients include Anita Baker, Rochelle Farrell, Everett Harp, Gladys Knight, Melissa Manchester, Barry Manilow, the Pointer Sisters, Smokey Robinson, C. Wood, and Take Six, and others. Need to put that in too. Duke worked as musician director at the Nelson Mandela Tribute concert at the Wembley Stadium in London in 1988. In 1989, he temporarily replaced Marcus Miller as a musical director of NBC Late Night Music Performance Program Sunday Night during his first season. He was a judge for the second ever Independent Music Awards. He died August 5th, 2013, at the age 67 with chronic inflammatory leukemia. All right, Grammy Awards was awarded by the National. Okay. Now, the year 1981 categories: Best R&B Performance, Duo or Group Vocal. The Clark Duke Project was nominated. Best Recording for the Children We Are the World, nominated. Best Instrument Arranger, Accompanying Vocals, Folio Track, nominated. So the best picture was 85, and also the last one was 1990. 1998, Best Musician Arranger, Accompanying Vocals, The Look of Love, also nominated. Best Contemporary Jazz Performance After Hours nominated. Best Traditional R&B Vocal Album Cool nominated. 2000 Best Jazz Vocal Album in a Moment Live in Concert he won. Then the next following year, Best Jazz Vocal Album, The Call-In won. Bruce, if you're still here, let me know. You press 1 because most likely I'm going to send the link. So anybody that's want to get on, let me know. I'm going to send the link. So Bruce, press 1 if you're still here. I want you to stay right there because I'm going to send the link. Make my mind go do that. Okay, 2005 Best Pop Instrumental Performance T Jam also nominated. Other honors, he was inducted into the Soul Music Hall of Fame at soulmusic.com. Al Jarreau recorded the tribute My Old Friend celebrating George Duke Concord 2014 with songs written by Duke appeared on the album with Gerald Albright, Stanley Clarke, Dr. John, Leela Hathaway, Boney James, Marcus Miller, Jeffrey Osborne, Kelly Price, Deanne Reeves, that's Duke's cousin, and Patrice Rushen. The album was received 2015 NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Jazz Album. Yeah, but Bruce Goes, and anybody that wants to get on, let me know. Bruce Goes, stay right there because I'm gonna send you the link. Stay right there. Just about finished. Discography: George Duke, Qual 96, Save the Country, makes 1970. Solace, 1971. The Inner Source, 1973. That album is very, very underrated. I'm telling you. You need to look at The Inner Source. Was one of my favorites. The Face of Reflection, 1974. Feel, 1974. Era Will Prevail, 1975. Prolific with Pete Magnet, 1975. I Love the Blues, She Heard Me Cry, 1975. Liberated Fantasies, 1976. From Me to You, 1977. And I love the other LP, Reach for It. That's very underrated. 1976 solo keyboard album, 1978. And I watched it, no joke. Save the Country, 1978. Save the Country. That's another LP I need to listen. Don't Let Go, 1978. Follow the Rainbow, 1979. Same year, Master of the Game. Brazilian Love Affair, 1980. Dream On, 1982. Guardian the Light, 1983. Renaissance, 1984. Thief of the Night, 1985. George Duke, 1986. Night After Night, 1989. Snapshot, 1992. Illusions, 1995. Is Love Enough, 1997. After Hours, 1998. Cool, 2000. Face the Music, 2002. Duke, 2005. In the Mellow Tone, 2006. Dookie Treats, 2008. Deja Vu, 2010. And his last album, Dream Weavers, was 2013. And Bruce Goes, stay right there. Stay right there. When you get and anybody else that wants to get on, let me know. But Bruce Goes, you stay right there. Cause we're gonna talk about Big Dude. I mean Big Dude. I mean the late great George Duke. All right. That's not it. Okay. Hold on, bro. Hold on. I'm coming. Soon as you get it, bro. Big Bruce Goes, I want you to get on. Soon as you get it. Okay. See, we here. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Hold on, hold on. Hmm? All right, Bruce. Look out for your link. Look out for your link, brother Bruce. Look out for your link. Anybody that wants to get on to talk about George Duke, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I'll send out the link to you, brother Bruce. So look out for it. Just come straight to the panel. Mess around. I might do another one, y'all. If I know it's that, if I know it's that short. I could get y'all double. Could get you like that, but that's all right though. So we waiting for the we brother Bruce to get on everything. I want to thank y'all to put yeah, the participation and let me see Bruce Gold. I want to thank you, Big Duke. Thank you so much. And Sheik, we here. Thank you so much. And there you go, the one and only Bruce Goes. Thank you, brother. Let me think. Let me get this out. Anybody else that wants to join, that want to talk about the late great George Duke, feel free. There you go. What's going on,
What's up, my brother? How we doing tonight?
man? We all right. We all right.
Hey, I saw George Duke up there, man. I, I've been following George Duke for years. I rock and roll, jazz, man, everything. I saw George Duke in '74. It's the first time I saw him with Frank Zappa, the Mothers of
Mm,
Invention.
mm,
Totally blew my mind. I mean, he stood out. Frank Zappa's a composer. I mean, he's up there with I mean, he's considered one of the greatest composers of the 20th century. And George Duke just blew me away with how fast he was on the keyboards. He had a
mm-hmm,
piano, a grand piano, an organ. He had synthesizers. He was going
mm-hmm,
back and forth. I mean, amazing stuff. And I continued to listen to him, and I got into jazz. He was really a big jazz man. He had the George Duke Trio, and his first
mm-hmm.
jazz album was with a, a, um, a, um, a violinist named John Luke Ponte.
Right.
And with the George Duke, and I'm listening to this, and I'm saying, wow, I never could believe a violin could play jazz with a
Yeah.
piano like that, man.
Mm-hmm,
And then I saw him at the jazz workshop in Boston, and it was a complete jazz concert. I mean, he played with these musicians: Alfonso Mizan on drums. He had Charles Ickerus Johnson on guitar. He had
mm-hmm,
Marcus Miller on bass. I mean,
mm-hmm.
it was mine. It was so good, dude. I lived 50 miles away, and I drove back the next night to the club to catch catch the concert on the second night. It was that good, and it was so small that I sat so close to George Duke, I could see his fingers banging the keyboards. I was only about 6 feet away from him. It was that small,
Mm.
man. And the dude worked hard, man. The sweat was pouring off him. That you could tell this guy just loved his music. He's
Mm-hmm.
watching every soloist play, and they're all looking at each other, nodding their heads. You know when you got good musicians, they don't have to
Yes.
read music. They can just take it, man. Take it from the beat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I stopped listening to George Duke when I was very, very little. I learned started appreciating when I started hitting I started hitting 9 or 10. And and then I think he improvised. I think that he like a lot of people don't understand that even like Quincy Jones. I'm gonna take it back. That Quincy Jones was the first person in jazz when they had this TV show Ironside. This back I'm talking about towards 64, 63, 64. He was the Quincy Jones was the first one that brought synthesizer into it. Now, that was a very unheard of. So I want to put that in, but to me George Duke, he just took it to the next level of composing and arranging. And also, he was an excellent trombone. Also, he played the flute and stuff like that. So throughout the years, he don't get the credit that he deserved, but he excellent arranger, excellent. You know, a lot of people don't know he's an excellent songwriter too.
Well, you know what a lot of people don't know too is you follow George Duke, and he just doesn't have his own albums out. But like you mentioned, Lee Ritenour, the guitarist, he probably has 10 albums out, and George Duke is on at least 8 of those albums. And the drummer on there, Steve Gadd, probably got a dozen albums out. George Duke is going to be on a half a dozen albums. And see,
Hmm.
those jazz cats, man, they're so tight that all they have to say is, "I'm putting out an album." And they get a band put together overnight that they're just so good musicians. They hang out together. All they have to do is look at each other, and they got the beat going. And Judge Duke is right in there. He's him and Herbie Hancock, man.
Hmm.
All the keyboardists that you mentioned, Chick Corea, Keith Jarrett. There's so many of them, but yet they're an elite breed. I say there's so many of them, but there's not a lot of them. There's only a handful of musical greats. We're talking about the keyboard, and George Duke is right up there, man. He's in the Hall of Fame. Rest in peace, George Duke.
Yeah, and also when you mention like, and then we cannot forget about Ramsey Lewis. You know,
Absolutely, Ramsey
Ramsey
Lewis.
Lewis. Yeah, so we understand that even each of them they come from a jazz great and they end up going up being great too. But George Duke for me is like it's a gem that we don't talk about a lot. Just like I'm gonna do about I'm gonna talk about do Roy Ayers too.
Well, you
I
know
think
what
Roy.
was interesting that you said underrated. You were mentioning him putting the synthesizer in jazz, and that was revolutionary, especially back in 1965 when he did the soundtrack for Ironside. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
that was unheard of, man. It was a sax, a trumpet, a flute, guitar,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, piano, drums, but put a synthesizer in there, man. I mean, the purists were like, no, 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 you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, oh, yes, I can. And you listen, and man, you start fit right in there, man. And
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
a whole new direction, bro.
Yeah, and then that's what like people they look at Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones was ahead of his time too. But I'm glad that you brought. I had to bring that point up too because it was like people did just say that. So George do learn from Quincy Jones. What he didn't provide, he did just like to me to be. It's just like George. He just took it to the next level of the synthesize and the piano playing. Make up his own notes along the way. Because sometimes he plays a certain concept, it don't sound the same.
Oh
But
no, he's got so many styles that he can
there's got
play with.
so many styles, right? And explain to people of the styles that he was playing because they think we just make it thing. They think the number one grinder make things up. And then explain to people why George Duke of the styles and everything.
Oh,
Tell
George
the
Duke,
people,
man,
please.
he played. He could play every style of music going. Like I said, the first time I saw him was he was playing in a rock environment with Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, and they're playing heavy guitar, metal music, drums. I mean, it was loud, and plus he had you mentioned Ruth and Bruce Fowler. That Bruce Fowler was a trombone player, and his wife Ruth, I think she was a singer. I mean, it was like mayhem on stage, but yet George Duke was just doing his thing, keeping it all together, man, playing the piano and the synthesizer. And I'm saying this guy is good. What's his genre? And then I followed him, like I said. His next thing was a real funky jazz concert where he played with all these soul musicians and funk musicians, and they did a lot of Quincy Jones stuff. And then I saw him again where he did Brazilian jazz. He played with Ayrton Maria and his wife Flora Parim. It was Brazilian, man, and it's all on vinyl, and I have a lot of these records behind me. I mean, you couldn't put him in one category, and that's why he was in such demand when these musicians needed a keyboard player, and they got George Duke. They knew they didn't have to tell him what style it was. He knew right away. He looked at the music, and he could sit right in there, fly in one night, and they put the album out the next day. That's how good the guy was. I mean, he was a genius.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I think what impressed me of George Duke that you don't find that many jazz arrangers could cross over to do different genres of music, but and it's hard. A lot of people don't understand. It's very hard to do that, but for him, as I was reading and also explained that he also played other instruments well too, the trombone, the flute and that helps him really open up as a ranger. So that means he can hear certain things. That's why you hear different sounds. If y'all, I tell people that hear the dookie stick. I want y'all to hear that. That's back in '78. That is my thing. And then the times that he had the festivals out in California throughout the '60s and the '70s and all around the country. I want you to hear the different styles that he improvised. Even though when he was producer and arranger and even songwriter too. Now, I want to talk about the songwriter. I want you to talk more about that, brother Bruce Coles too. That a lot of people don't understand. He also was an excellent songwriter. He also excellent to how to put a story together. When you put a story together, when you know how to arrange and conduct and everything, that's like triple right there. So explain to people why is that so important, brother?
Oh well, the whole arranging of the concert itself, man. You know, George Duke, he not only wrote the music, but he brought the artists on stage, and you know he wrote individual parts for these artists. He had backup singers, three chicks that he was he wrote every part in the song, and the thing was, man, when they got on there and they got cooking, he could look at every musician as they played, and he knew the instrument they were playing, and he followed it, and I sat close enough where I could watch his face, and if they made a squeak or they were off, you could see him acting like a fighter who got hit with a shot to the gut. You know what I'm saying, man? He was a perfectionist, and he expected nothing less than perfection from the people he was playing with. You know, you could just tell he was just so he was. I mean, you know, it's almost like if you could say Beethoven, you know, and you could talk about him in the same breath. You know what I'm saying, man? The guy was simply a genius. Any style he could adapt to, you know, from basic jazz to Spanish music to hard rock to show music to solo piano albums. I mean, you know, the guy had it all. You just couldn't put him in a category. And whatever kind of music you felt like listening to at the time, you can punch up George Duke on YouTube and you know there's 50 different styles of music, man. If you want to listen to new stuff, old stuff, heavies, whatever it is, man, give yourself a treat and punch up some George Duke if you haven't checked them out yet. Huh, Grinder?
Yes, exactly. Punch it up, and you can hear all this, what's going on, and everything. And so what's your favorite songs that you love for the late great Bill George Duke?
I kind of like when he was doing that. It was a smooth jazz era, and he did an album. I think it was called Just for You, and that whole album, man. I wore that thing out on the turntable, man. I had it really. I probably bought two copies of it. I played it that often, man.
That
You know
thing
that
off on the
you couldn't
turntable,
just
man.
punch something up on YouTube back then. You had to go out and buy it
Mhm.
in vinyl and even I mean just the turntable and the needle alone was like $100 just for a good stylus, and you know it was kind of a you had to love the music to go out and go out and buy it and do all that. Where today, man, you can just punch it up on YouTube. You don't even have to punch it up. You can just say George Duke from the 70s, and you got choices up there that you know it really does blow my mind what's available to us. And you know,
Mhm.
being somebody who digs George Duke, I've listened to so much that I haven't heard. I couldn't find it, or I didn't even know it existed. You know, just being able to get a hold of them on the internet here. So
Mhm.
anybody that wants to dig on them, man, really, there's information out there. The stuff that the underground the underrated. I'm sorry, just read to us. You know, you can get into that deeper. You can get into those albums, And man, these are things that I never had the opportunity to do before until now. And man, there's really there's no limits on it. We could get into all these musicians that you're talking about at different shows if you want to do them underrated, because it's so vast. And I I always said to people, I can get on I can get on these sites, and there's four things that I can talk to almost anybody about on a pretty expert level. And I'm not saying expert, but I can hold my own talking about nutrition and health. I do that with Big Duke on the fourth quarter talk. I can talk about boxing, which I've done on many sites that I still love to do. I can talk about the music. It's jazz is my forte, but I can pretty much go into any genre of music. And the last subject I'm an expert on, man, because we're R-rated over here, my brother. I'm an expert on the weed, and I can do a show on that with anybody, and I have done. So, bro, I appreciate this platform, and like I said, jazz and music are one of my four top subjects that I have, and we can chop that up anytime, brother.
Well, brother, I'm gonna tell you this. This is not the first time I do the underrated music talk. I got a whole lot deep in this side. Yeah, matter of fact, Cat PY2 had been on a few himself on the. I got quite a lot. I did quite a few underrated music talks. I did generic R&B, generic pop, generic everything. It's very deep It's very deep.
No, I've looked on your page, man. I can see it. That's why when I saw you put George Duke up here, I said, this is my kind of talk here. And we're in prime time. There's a lot of shows, a lot of places to go on the internet, and that's why we don't get a lot of people live sometimes. But this is an interesting subject, and anybody who's into good music will see this thumb out there and listen to it, man. It's a great thing, but it's hard being in this time slot right here because there's so many shows out there. You know it, brother. And everybody wants to show the love. Get out there and support all the channels. We're just doing our thing over here, and we just hope a lot of people can share it, and people can share it. And
please share it, yeah. Please share it.
I love talking music, bro.
Okay, well, don't worry about it. I'm gonna bring it back. Okay?
I appreciate the invite up here.
And then what I'm going to do the next one, if I don't forget, the next underrated music. So let me repeat this before I keep on going. This is not the first one I do the underrated music talk. I do underrated music talk in the past. I just haven't done it in a while because I was doing other things on my job. But I'm going to slowly by little. I'm going to start doing the underrated music talk. Oh yeah, let me put this up before I continue. Fellow content creator and brother DJ Kuda was in a car accident. So please send out your prayers to brother DJ Kuda. You know what I'm saying? So everybody send your prayers out to him. Hopefully he's all right and everything. And also Paul Mooney, the legendary writer, comic writer and comic legend. He passed away today. So listen, so I'm gonna dedicate what I'm going to do. I'm going to dedicate this live to the late great Paul Mooney, but at the same time, let's send our prayers out to DJ Kuda to make sure. So hopefully everything will be all right. He can be on this, so he come back on a speedy recovery and stuff like that. So that's very important. All right, so I will before I close it out, I want you to stay right there, Bruce Goes. I know you know Roy Ayers, right? You know Roy Ayers is not in the Hall of Fame. Hello?
No, Roy is one of the greats. He should be.
Yeah, he's not in the Hall of Fame. So what I'm gonna do, if I don't forget, the next one I'm gonna do of Roy Ayers.
Yeah, there's some greats out there, man. There are some greats out there.
So I'm saying you pay attention to that, Bruce Goes, and most likely that's gonna be a panel discussion. And family, if you wants to come up, you gotta let me know, because just give me some time to read about it and everything, and then I want y'all to engage. I want you to engage. You know what I mean? Because these are greats. These are the ones that we cannot forget about it and everything. These are the ones that they are trendsetters. See, you go to my channel, the underrated music talk. I talk about trendsetters. So this is another trendsetter that we gotta pay some respect on it. Yeah, Rip Elder Paul Mooney. Yes, 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 yes. So we're gonna do this channel. We're gonna dedicate this live to the late great Paul Mooney, and at the same time, let's send our prayers to brother DJ Kuda. I see it on first on brother Mace Taggart. Brother Mace Taggart, shout out to you, brother. He was in a car. DJ Kuda was in a car accident, and let's just pray for him. Just hope he can come back in a speedy recovery. So shout out to DJ Kuda. Last remarks, please, and stay right there, brother Bruce.
Yeah, I wish my condolences and speedy recovery to everyone out there, man. Sometimes it's a hard world, man. We have to be tough sometimes. We have to be tough to survive it, But somebody like George Duke. The thing about him, man, he's gone now. But you listen to his music, any era, and it sounds fresh and brand new. That's the thing about him, man. You can go back and listen to him from the 70s, the 80s, and if I told you that was released yesterday, yeah, you'd have no argument with me. Underground, man. I underrated. I'm sorry, man. I keep calling you underground. I'll just call you
Right.
I'll just call you the number one grinder, like I always do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Number one grind is easy. Thank you.
Is you are the number one grinder, man. This a hip show like this. This is the best kept secret. If people were into jazz and knew about this, man, this room would be flooded right now, dude. I wish I had a chance to tell some of my jazz buddies out there, but we were cooking up over here tonight. But the next show we'll get them all ready for it. Next time we do a show like on Roy Ayers or anybody, man. You know who I really dig, man? You got to check out Miles Davis.
Oh, Miles Davis is coming.
Because George Duke was sat in with Miles Davis many
Yes,
sessions.
yes, that's right. We got young. Let me tell you, and this is the time. Let me break it down. This is the time now when Brother Bruce was talking about. He was talking about this one. What I'm talking about is '69. Bitches, bro. This is um of years of trying. This one, the late great Miles Davis was fusing jazz with R&B, and that did not supposed to happen. But you know who was a part of that? The late. It was the young George Duke was part of that too. Also, you got Herbie Hancock. Then you got others. So understand the transcend, understand the timing of this. So I need to bring that up to too. So, brother, last remarks, please, and stay right there so we can close out the fact.
Well, you've kind of said it all, man. Miles Davis, Bitches Brew, that whole jazz to electric fusion that happened right here in Newport, Rhode Island at the Newport Jazz Festival. And people were turning their heads on Miles Davis, the jazz purists. They couldn't believe what he was doing on stage, man. But that's a whole nother show. And we'll definitely get together with that, my friend, the number one grinder.
You know what? And also, I'm thinking I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to do a special underrated music talk, and we're going to talk about fusion of jazz, fusion of R&B, fusion of pop, fusion of reggae, and we're going to talk about it very seriously. So it's going to be a panel discussion. So I advise y'all read up, study up, because I'm going to be ready. I'm just letting you know I'm going to be ready. I know music. Trust me, I know music.
Well, see, I
So,
don't read up or study up, man. I lived through the eras, so I just kind of have to take my
yeah, man, I'm just talking about,
Prevagen and try to remember this shit. That's all
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. I'm just talking about the ones that wants to join. This is heavyweight right here. This something.
Absolutely, and jazz is like boxing too. It
Right.
goes in crazy directions. You can't put a finger on it, and when you think it's fading away, bango, explode right in your face. Brother,
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly. Yeah, so it's going to be a lot more underrated music talk, and I expect y'all to engage. This is we gotta keep these people going. So on behalf of my channel, the Underrated Dark, is yours truly, the #1 grinder, one of the best kept secrets on YouTube. Yes, I am. The best of the business. That's right, I am. Also, I put in the work. My work speaks for itself. And my brother right here, brother Bruce Goes, thank you so much as always. Until next time. Oh yeah, if you travel out there, make sure that you travel safely to your destination or home, because the climate is out there is crazy out there. So let's travel smartly and let's look out for each other. Until next time, have a good night. This one is Ghost.